Hey, welcome back to Retro J's YouTube channel. Right now is something you've probably seen for the first time if you have not seen them previously on Retro Remix Nation's channel or Watermusic Retro's channel. This is part of a new series we're doing called Three Guys Named Retro and the Game Hunters. So sit back and enjoy, and here we go with the third installment of Three Guys Named Retro and the Game Hunters. Hey guys, so today's topic is our top 3 favorite turn-based RPGs. Now we went with turn-based because there's so many different genres of RPGs out there nowadays. There's action RPGs, you got games like Skyrim, which is an RPG. You got dungeon crawlers were essentially RPGs as well. So we're going to go with turn-based today. And I'm going to start it off by going through my top 3 favorite RPGs. I had so many more that I really enjoyed. It took me a while to kind of filter down to what I thought and felt were my favorite 3, the ones that I finally looked back on. And let's go ahead and start with the first one. And this may not be no surprise, but Final Fantasy VII. I really enjoyed this game. Fantastic storyline. This game really cemented me wanting to continue playing turn-based RPGs. I played a couple back on Super Nintendo. Nintendo didn't get into them much back then. I like them better now, obviously. Since I played this, when I played this game, this was the first time I really got into turn-based. I was always action this, action that, fighting games, Mario, stuff like that. But this game really opened my eyes on how fun and cool a turn-based RPG could be. So Final Fantasy VII. And these are in no particular order. It's really hard for me to pick a number 1, so that's why I'm doing top 3 even across the board. So there's that one. Skies of Arcadia. And if anybody's not played this game, you need to give it a chance. You need to definitely check this out. It's only on the Dreamcast, and there's a updated version with a little bit cleaner graphics and added quests and whatnot, and that's for the GameCube, and that one's right here. Skies of Arcadia Legends. Now what's cool about this game is your sky pirates, the whole world is in the air, so it's really cool. And all the land masses are islands that kind of float. But this game was really fun. Not only did you get into your normal basic turn-based attacks with your characters, depending on your ship, you can upgrade your ship. You can upgrade your crew to make parts of the ship better, and you get into ship battles between your ships. Skies of Arcadia is probably one of the best RPGs I had played in a long time. Highly recommend. If you have a Dreamcast, get this one first. If you have both, get them both. Play this first for sure, and then play this one so you can kind of see the improvements and the extra stuff that they added. And there's an extremely hard fight on this game that's not on this game. But I'm not going to spoil any of that for you. So if you decide you want to try this game, I'd get them both. And last but not least, Chrono Cross. I know people are going, why not Chrono Trigger? Why not Chrono Trigger? Chrono Cross isn't a sequel. Don't get me wrong, Chrono Trigger was a great game. I never got the chance to play it completely through, and maybe once I do it and I play through all the different endings, maybe my feelings will change on that. But I played through this game, and it's fantastic. Some of the best music that I've heard in a video game. The fact that you can have up to like 40 people in your party, and really depending on which characters you choose to come with you, there's always a point in the game where there's 2 people in town, let's say, and you pick this person, and this person, you have them come with you. You can no longer get this person, but this person will give you 2 other people that you can get, the same as the other person would get you 2 other people. So it's got a lot of replay value, so you can kind of experience all the different characters that you can use in the game. But like 30-40 characters, not quite as many as Suikoden, but nonetheless, it's a really cool game. The spells are really cool. The summon spells are really cool. The story's great, and it has some really good full motion video in here. This is really after the PlayStation really got a hold of how to do full motion video and make it look very good. If you've not seen this, I'll go ahead and I'll throw a clip in a minute just to kind of show the beginning of the game, kind of like how it sounds, how it looks, so you can be the judge. I would definitely give it a try. Don't go in thinking this is Chrono Trigger. This is a totally separate game. It's got a really good storyline nonetheless, so definitely check this out. Here's the clip. Alright, thank you guys. That was my portion of this. Let's move on to Watermusic Retro.
Hello everybody, this is Watermusic Retro, and I'm here to tell you about my top 3 turn-based RPGs. Unlike a lot of you out there on YouTube, I don't have a lot of experience with RPGs. I love them, I have a history with them. As a kid I loved them, but since getting back into the hobby as an adult, I have just not had the funds to get my hands on the ones that I have wanted to play. And I have not had the luck to chance upon them in the wild for cheap. That being said, my number 3 pick is Dragon Warrior for the NES. Dragon Warrior is one of those games that always gives me a warm feeling when I think about it. When it first came out and I tried it, I had no idea what to do. I had no experience with RPGs, and I popped it in thinking it was going to be an action game, and I got totally lost. The commercial was a bit misleading for it, to be honest. Like, there was a guy running on a horse in a field, I remember.
Thy most challenging quest ever awaits. Go with speed, but go with patience. Seek out an arsenal, a dragon scale, a torch, and magic herbs.
He was in a kingdom of some sort, fighting a dragon, and it was so action-packed.
Art thou ready, young one?
Yes, King Lord.
And so begins a new epic, Dragon Warrior.
Nintendo, now you're playing with power.
It totally misled me to what the game actually was. But as an adult, when I started collecting again, it was the first RPG that I played for the NES, and I absolutely loved it. I loved how archaic it was. I loved how bare bones it was. It was right to the point, not like basically no story to speak of. You save the princess and then go from there. And I did have to use walkthroughs to get through it because I just had no idea what to do next, but it didn't matter to me. It just, the grinding can be a chore, but I found it fun. And you get to the boss at the end and you don't know if you're high enough level to beat him, and then you beat him. It feels so good to have grinded so far and get your level up so far. The weapons are sparse. I don't even recall if there's any magic. You just have your heal potions and stuff like that. It's just so basic, but I love it, and it'll always be one of my favorite RPGs. My second favorite RPG is also an NES classic, and that is the original Final Fantasy. Again, I love the basic nature of this. It is a little more in-depth than Dragon Warrior. There's a little more to it. You have to think a little more with this one, which is why I think I put it just a notch ahead of Dragon Warrior, because this does definitely take you a little bit deeper into the realm of RPGs. You get to control 4 characters in this one. You can use magic users. You can customize your party from the beginning, which is great to start. And then you grow them over the course of the game. You raise their levels, and then you can graduate them to secondary characters, which are even more powerful. So, you know, this game has a lot going for it, especially, you know, back when it came out. This was kind of groundbreaking. And all my experience with this game is as an adult. I played this after I played Dragon Warrior, which is probably perfect because it seems like the next best step to take in the RPG realm. And I really loved it. It definitely opened my eyes to how big the NES could be in terms of gameplay. This game really is sort of a wide-sweeping epic. As far as the huge world, the different types of beasts you fight, the bosses, the music, everything, it seemed like a pretty big game to me. So yeah, I was really happy with this game. And in my number 1 spot is Final Fantasy II for the Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy III is a great game, and I give it all the respect it deserves. But for me personally, Final Fantasy II is where it's at. So Final Fantasy II, or 4, as many people like to call it, is the pinnacle of my experience with RPGs. I remember when this came out for Super Nintendo, my neighbor got it. I never owned it myself, but I think I went over there one night for a sleepover, and we just spent hours and hours getting through this thing. We never, of course, got through it in the one night, but we got pretty darn far, and it was just such an eye-opener for me. I had never played such an epic game. I would say that this is the RPG that got me into RPGs, really, as a kid. It wasn't too hard to get into, the story was easy to understand, the characters were likable, it didn't have any crazy twists or turns that, you know, a young mind couldn't wrap their head around. It was colorful, the music was great, it had lots of weapons and spells and items and all that kind of stuff, and it just had all that great RPG fare, but for some reason this particular game had a really great way of introducing me to it all, and it didn't dumb it down like some other RPGs. Yeah, that's the one I actually bought instead of Final Fantasy II as a kid. Let's just say I was jealous of my neighbor. But yeah, I have to say that is my favorite, probably because of my memories and my nostalgia. I know it's not the greatest RPG out there, but like I said, there's a lot I haven't played. There's a lot of them I don't have in my collection, purely because I haven't found them, or I can't quite bite the bullet on paying the price that they're worth these days. But there you go. Those are my choices. On to the next.
Hello? What's up, Retro J? So this video is going to be turn-based RPGs? Okay. Alright, top 3? Okay, cool, man. Alright, I'll try to get it done. Alright, later, bro. Later, man. Bye. Turn-based RPGs. RPGs, really pricey games. Oh, okay, turn-based. Okay, so my first one's probably gonna be Aero Fighters. Aero Fighters is a really expensive game, and there's a lot of turning when you're flying. Okay, so Aero Fighters is gonna be number 1. Okay, so got one out of the way. Chibi Robo. Yes. Because he plugs himself in and turns on and off things, devices and stuff. Okay, awesome. Okay, so Chibi Robo's number 2. The That's pretty expensive. That's like a $70 game. Oh, what should I do for number 3? Well, it's not a really pricey game. But Altered Beast. I'm going to go with Altered Beast because Altered Beast, he turns in from a man to a beast. And some of the ports are kind of pricey depending on your budget. I mean, if you got a $1 budget, it's expensive. If you got a $5 budget, it's kind of expensive. If you got a $20 budget, it's not expensive. But those are my 3. Yeah, I'm going to go with those 3. Aero Fighters, Chibi Robo, and Altered Beast. So turn-based RPGs. Alright, I better start making this video.
Hey everyone, COE33 here with my sister Leave.
Hey guys!
And the topic of discussion this time around is, what are your 3 favorite turn-based RPGs and why?
Ooh, interesting
So
question.
I know, well yes it is, and I know this isn't a genre of games that you have a lot of experience with, but
No.
you do have one game that you wanted to share, huh?
Yeah. That game is Pokemon.
Nice, Pokemon Ruby?
Yeah. I enjoy the story.
Mm-hmm.
And collecting the characters inside of the game.
Nice.
And it's a fun game as well.
Very cool. Yeah. And you have quite a few Pokemon games
Yes,
in
I
your collection,
do.
don't you?
I do.
Very cool. I think that's a good choice. I haven't really played much Pokemon, but I know you enjoy it quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
So I, unlike my sister, played a whole bunch of turn-based RPGs, and it was quite difficult narrowing down to just 3. But after giving it some thought, I went ahead and picked my 3. And my number 3 choice, unfortunately, we don't have a physical copy of, and that's Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo. And that's not only one of my favorite turn-based RPGs, but one of my favorite games in general of all time. It's a 2D sprite-based RPG with a very charming story and character, or characters, I should say, and really fun battle mechanics, and just a great game all around, and I absolutely love Chrono Trigger, as I know a lot of people do. My second choice is Skies of Arcadia for the Sega Dreamcast, and I've played this game several times, and I love it. It's a kind of steampunk, Jules Verne-esque style
Ooh, how
RPG.
interesting.
It's got a really neat story, and it's a lot of fun, and good battle mechanics, and just a great RPG for the Dreamcast. And then my number 1 choice is a game for the PlayStation 1. And you know how some games and movies kind of take you back to a place in time, and you have nostalgia for them for that reason? Well, this game does that for me, and that's Final Fantasy IX. And I remember when this came out, and I poured, countless hours into it, and I loved it. It kind of returned to the original fantasy roots of the series versus what they did with 7 and 8. And I really enjoyed it. It's got great characters, a fun story, and it's just one of my favorite games of all time. And the music in it still kind of brings me back to that time and place in the world, and I absolutely love it and still enjoy playing it to this day. So that is our 3 favorite turn-based RPGs.